and my Hopslam clone. Not really to judge them, but just to see if there's any difference. Let's get to it. Welcome back, everybody. So we are going to look at Hunter's Hopslam clone and my Hopslam clone side by side. Just before I get into this, I wanted to say it's been a weird ride with my Hopslam clone because it was only 8.33%. There was more sugars in there. You could taste the honey. And I poured two directly out of the tap to send to Hunter and two to send to 21090 Brewing. And then I poured myself one, and it wasn't as sweet. So to me, I almost think that sugar is settling to the bottom, and that's what is coming out first is all that sugar. I don't know if that's the case, but it did taste more citrus hoppy after I poured all those bottles than when I was pouring them. So it'll be interesting to see what those guys have to say about the beer. But this is Hunter's. It's the same exact, let me get back to it. Same exact recipe. And the weird thing, he made a 1.8 liter starter, so it was a bigger starter than mine. And looking at his pre-boil gravity was 1054, and his final gravity was 8 to 8.3%. So pretty much right in line with mine. So this should be interesting. I want to see if his is as sweet as mine. Now, the one thing I didn't ask him, or if he told me, I totally forgot, was how he packaged this or bottled it. For me, what I do is I go straight from the keg into the actual bottles. And a lot of people don't do that, so it'll be interesting to see what these are. So looking at them right now, as you can see, my head's a lot denser than his. I am getting lacing. Whitehead from what's on here. These have been sitting about a week. I had some trouble with shipping mine, so I didn't want to taste his until I got mine out. But if we look at the colors, mine is more golden color than his. Bubbles are about the same. I would say his is carbonated a little bit more. I do see some protein and other stuff kind of floating in there. His is more of a golden color. Mine's like a darker golden color. I don't know if you guys can see the difference in those two or not. So let's go ahead and get a smell of his. Sweetness with some citrus hoppiness in there. I think if anything, mine is a little bit sweeter. Like I'm getting more of that sweet malt with a lower smell of citrus pine. Yeah, and if anything, maybe a little bit more yeast in his. Let's go ahead and taste. Okay. Without tasting mine, it tastes exactly like mine. That big, sweet malt and a little bit of citrus undertone notes are in there. Mine's a different sweetness. Now that I'm tasting them like this, mine's more of a honey sweetness. His is more of a malt sweetness. Yeah, definitely a different sweetness in there. I don't think I would have ever picked that out. I would have said mine tastes exactly like his if I went to taste mine, because you are getting that malt sweetness from his. Yeah. If anything, I would say his is more of a malt sweetness with some yeast in it, where mine's more of a honey sweetness. Both good. Technically, I would say I like both of these better than the regular Hopslam this year because the regular Hopslam has that hotness, that alcohol bite in the back, which I don't like. The weird part is he made a 1.8 liter starter. I made a 1 liter starter, and his still didn't finish all the way. I don't know if he put on here. Original gravity was 1072, finished at 7.5 bricks, 1005. So his started about 10 points lower than mine. I think mine was 1085 and his was 1072. I can't remember if I finished at 1020 or what it was. But yeah, so they're about the same drop in points. So that's weird to me. How he could have had a bigger starter, and he finished where he did, and I only made a 1 liter, and mine finished where it did at this. Let's say 8.33 for both of them. So I'm definitely going to make this again, and I want to see if we can actually get it down there. Or I do know a couple more people that are actually brewing this to see what they get. I think you need like a 2 liter starter and a ton of yeast to get through this, or to get that alcohol up all the way, because obviously a 1.8 is not doing it, and my one didn't do it. But yeah, getting back to the beer. If anything, yeah, like I've said, his is a malt sweetness with some yeast in the back, not really getting any of that hop. Then mine's more of a honey sweetness. And just having these two side by side, I would rather drink Hunters because that honey sweetness is actually it's too much for me. Like I can finish this glass and then I don't want any more for the day, where I think on his I could drink more. So in a comparison, I would give him more points, or give him the victory for that malt sweetness over the honey sweetness, because I think that honey sweetness is too much. But like I said, if I would have poured, or if I pour like 3 or 4 glasses and get all that sweetness, that honey out of the bottom, then pour one, I do get more citrus in there. So that's kind of weird. I thought it would be gone in the keg, but obviously it's not. It would be interesting to see if Hunter did keg this, and if he did, if him and his friends drink some, or if he drinks 2 or 3, what happens in there after that. So yeah, hopefully you guys like this. I like trying other people's homebrew. I think this is cool to do. I would like to go back to it. I will go back to it and make it again, and try and drive down that final ABV to get closer to that 10 and try and get that honey out. I don't know what kind of honey he used, as I got mine from Bell's, so maybe it was a stronger honey and that's why there's more of a honey taste in here. But yeah, cool. So if you guys have any comments, leave them below, and until next time, happy brewing.